Hey y'all, welcome to This Joyful Life podcast. My name is Rachel Witt. On today's episode, we are going to tackle the topic of sleep. Back in January, I found myself in a really tough spot, and this has actually happened a handful of times in my adult life. Just when I've gone through intense stress situations, I have found myself even a couple of months later having the ramifications of that stressful moment and still feeling the symptoms when it comes to how stress affects my sleep. If you have ever woken up at 3 a.m. and you can't go back to sleep, this podcast is for you. If you have ever struggled falling asleep, this podcast is for you. If you have ever woken up in the middle of the night for whatever reason and you just cannot fall back asleep, this is for you. If sleep struggle has ever been part of your story, this is the podcast you want to listen to, because I can pinpoint several times in my adult life where sleep has been a struggle, but nothing like what I experienced in January. And so I am really excited to share with you how the Lord has healed me. I did not want a quick fix, so I have spent the last few months working on it, and that is what this podcast is about. Let's get started. Hey y'all, welcome back to the podcast. I am here full of joy, full of spirit, full of life. And if I had tried to record this podcast back in January, I couldn't have done it because I was living exhausted. And as I have reflected, you guys know I'm a professional Christian life coach. So of course I have to practice what I preach. I want to practice what I preach. And I've reflected a lot on this sleep issue that I was having in January. And I have just reflected, like, has this happened before? And it has. Two distinct times that it has happened before. One was my very first teaching job. I was in an extremely stressful environment. I was a special ed teacher, and we had one instructional assistant per child, and then also me. And I was the third teacher, and I started 2 days after I graduated college. That was in December, and already that school year, I was the third teacher of the year. And so that tells you a little bit about, honestly, it wasn't even the kids' fault. It was they were not in the right environment. And so they had a brand new school built for them, actually, which was wonderful. But all that to say, that was the moment I actually went on sleep aids, and I was 21. And I went on sleep aids from the doctor, prescribed, because my sleep was so horrible because of stress. And I also look back when my husband was very, very sick. This was 2012 through 2015. When he was sick for about 3.5 years, I remember really struggling with my sleep then. I would wake up in the middle of the night and just, have my hands out and praying over him for as long as I could until the Lord let me go back to sleep. And I remember struggling with sleep then, but not like now. This was different because I didn't go back to sleep in January. I was waking up at like 3 a.m, and that was it. And I was staying awake. I have 6 children. They're awesome. And I really do enjoy waking up with them in the middle of the night. I feel like the peace in my home in the middle of the night is just a gift. It's lovely. And I go back to sleep. It's not a problem for me to wake up with my kids. Back in January, I was still nursing my baby in the middle of the night, so I was waking up with her. One of my children has type 1 diabetes, so I was waking up with diabetes alarms. And so those things, I think, kind of condensed themselves to being part of why I was waking up. For sure, it was the reason I was waking up, but couldn't go back to sleep. And over the last couple of years, I have gone through intensely stressful situations. And whether you are joyful, happy, full of life, full of belief that the Lord has got you, and you believe Jeremiah 29:11 and Romans 8:28 with everything in you, I don't really care. Your body is going to keep score about the stress that you endure, whether you are happy or not. Now, let's go through life joyful, because that's what we're called to do, first of all, and because we know the Lord has got our back. But it doesn't mean that our body is not going to feel the effects of stress. And I think the Lord has done that, designed our bodies like that intentionally for me, I know like all these extremely stressful situations, they just compounded for me. And in January, I found myself for 3.5 weeks waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning with my kids or to go to the bathroom or whatever. And I was waking up every night and I could not go back to sleep. And so I was really living on 3 or 4 hours of rest. Now, if you're a tired woman listening to this podcast, I tell you, I drink a awesome vitamin drink that helps me feel awake and alert and amazing during the day. So had it not been for that, I would, oh my gosh, I don't know. I would be a zombie, right? Like a mom zombie. I would have not been living well during the day. And I will tell you, Josh and I have talked about it. He's my sounding board. I'm like, how am I doing? Like in January when I'm going through this lack of sleep, I'm like, how am I doing? Like, am I still loving you all well? And he said, he's like, I know you're exhausted. You're doing great. You'd never know that you're so tired. But he wanted me to have sleep too. And after 3.5 weeks, it was the end of January. I had enough. I told him, I don't know if I can go on like this, getting 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night. This is crazy. I don't know if I can do it. And so 3.5 weeks, that was my line in the sand. And I just literally arms open, hands open, Lord, whatever you've got to do it. And if you tell me to do something to heal my sleep, I'm going to do it. So I know as a professional Christian life coach that for me, it's important to take things from this perspective. You want to look at the physical, you want to look at the spiritual, you want to look at the mental, emotional, and then also support. You want to make sure you've got that support in place to not just for accountability, but also just for encouragement. So making any life change or, doing some reflection on where you are right now, you want to look at all those things. So physically, I'm like, what can I do physically? I really felt like I had the symptoms of high cortisol. And when I just did some research and I want to learn about this, I realized that I did have a lot of them, a lot of symptoms for high cortisol, the biggest one being sleep. So here's what I learned. Is that your body naturally produces cortisol in the middle of the night. It starts to peak. Now, this is the stress hormone. It starts to peak around 3 a.m. and is at its highest somewhere around 6 or 8 in the morning. So have you ever woken up maybe at 3 o'clock to go to the bathroom, you can't fall back asleep, and then somewhere around 6 o'clock, you fall back asleep, and for that sliver of time, maybe 6 to 6:30, 6 to 8 o'clock, somewhere around there, it's the best sleep you had. And for me, that's what I was experiencing. I was waking up, and if I was able to fall back asleep at like 6 o'clock or whatever, I would sleep for a few minutes. That few minutes was like honey. It was such great sleep. And then I would have to wake up for the day and do all the things. And so I really caught my body in this crazy cortisol cycle. And cortisol is your body's response to stress. It is the stress hormone. So if you are experiencing anything during the day that is stressful, whether that is good stress or bad stress, whether you're handling it well, whether you're not handling it well, it does not matter. If you're facing anything stressful, your body is producing cortisol during the day. It's naturally producing it at night. You're also going through something stressful during the day, so you've got it during the day too. And I call that a double whammy. I'm like, well, that's a double whammy of cortisol. No wonder I was waking up in the middle of the night and then unable to go back to sleep. I would lay there, and it wasn't as much my mind racing as it felt like my body would just, I had to go. I had like this energy, and I could not settle down to fall back asleep and get rest, which we know the Bible tells us how holy rest is, and that God gives rest to those that he loves. Like, obviously, like, I know, Lord, you love me. I need your rest. I need this. But I really think that in January, God was trying to get me to see how high my cortisol was. I did not have a blood test because I did not have time to make an appointment and wait a few months. I'm like, what do I have to do to tackle this? Well, I'll just do that now. I don't need a number to tell me something. I just need to take action and make it happen. So I started tackling it physically, saying, how do I get rid of cortisol? And the 3 best ways to actually get cortisol out of your body are walking, running, and cycling. And I have a Peloton bike, so I'm like, well, check that box. I am going to hop on the Peloton. I did that at the end of January. The first few days, I would ride and then take a day off and ride and take a day off. And I found that on the days that I rode my Peloton, I slept so much better than the days I did not. So on February 1st, I said, okay, I'm going to give this everything I've got, and I am going to ride faithfully. Every single day, I'm going to ride. And I did that all the way through April. So February, March, April. Now I'm mixing up my workouts because I feel like my body is in a better place. I'm riding my Peloton. I'm going for runs and walks. I'm lifting weights. I'm doing a handful of things because I have seen such miraculous benefit from moving my body, and how literally it's like when I go for a walk, occasionally I'll go for like a speed walk and a run. Yesterday I was running and my husband was working on the lawnmower and he saw me running and pushing the stroller, which was not a jogging stroller, I discovered, because it was like the wheels were like jiggling all over the place. And so I had to like really keep it steady. It was crazy. It was an upper body workout, not intentionally, because I had to keep the stroller straight when I was running. But he saw me running and I got home and I'm like dripping in sweat, and he was like high-fiving me. He's like, babe, I saw you running. That's awesome. So I've even done some of that. But when I tell you that exercise has miraculously healed my body, I'm like, God made our bodies to move. It makes sense. For centuries, women move their bodies for survival, to feed their families, take care of the home, all the things. I mean, even to get water, like you had to walk to do that. Like there's so many things, if you think about it. Our society today doesn't focus on movement like for thousands of years we've had to, because we had to move to survive. Our bodies, we are way more sedentary, and I don't have time for that. Like I need to sleep well, so I've got to get this cortisol out, and movement has been healing for me. Most of my walks have just been therapeutic walks. I push my baby, I say baby, she's going to be 2 in a few months, but I push her in the stroller. I'm just gentle walking, like for healing, like, Lord, this is so good. I'll just use this time to be still. I'm not even like thinking about stuff. I'm just keeping my mind still and enjoying. And y'all, this is the time of year to do it where I live, because the honeysuckle smells so amazing. I'm like, God gave us honeysuckle as a gift because it just smells so great. So walking outside has been hugely part of my journey. So at first I was like, I'll ride my Peloton every day. After a month of doing that, I said, all right, now I want to try and hit 10,000 steps every day too. And I do that. I'm being so focused on moving my body that it has been miraculous how it has made me feel. I've done hundreds of Peloton rides. I've done a health and wellness DNA test where I know in order for my body to not be as sore, I have to do a certain rhythm of exercise. So I know I've got to do a warm up. So I do a 5-minute warm up. I do a normal ride, which is usually low impact. Like I just want to move. I don't want to, I'm not trying to be aggressive. Like I just need to move my body. So 5-minute warm up, I'll do a ride, a 5-minute cool down, and I do a stretch. And that's my special recipe for not being sore, but moving my body and all the things. It's just been so fantastic. I cannot speak highly enough. I love it. I have gone for over 115 days straight, and I cannot get enough of how my body rests because I move it during the day. So great. Like I'm like, God, you designed us this way. It's so awesome. So physical, that was really important. I also want to look at spiritual. And so I have literally, let me tell you, for the first 2 months, I didn't get on social media at all. I wiped it out. If it's not leading me to the Lord, it's out of here. So social media is a big distraction, and I'm like, it's gone. I've got to sleep. I've got to heal. And I knew that God wanted me to just abide in him and get rid of social media. So I did it. Another thing, when just focusing on spiritual, I wasn't listening to my Peloton classes. I wasn't. I had my AirPods in, and I was listening to my own playlist of workout music that is all worship music, and it's so great. And I listened to that instead of the Peloton classes. Once in a blue moon, I will listen to a Peloton class. But for me, it's not that the classes were bad to listen to. It's just that I needed that time with my Savior to heal me. I needed it because I knew that if I could just soak my soul in just things that pointed me to the Lord, that it would help in such a big way. And so that was one thing I did. Daily reading my Bible every single day, that daily habit is something that I do anyways. And I don't say that to be high or mighty. That is something that became a rhythm for me in 2019 or 2020. I said, I want to read my Bible every day. I want to read it through in a year. And that's something I've done every year. So, reading the Bible through. So that's something that wasn't new, but instead of just reading, I was like, okay, Lord, show me something that can be part of my healing journey for my sleep in what I'm reading today. So just set a different focus for me when I was reading. So that's another thing. So I just wanted to be careful what my eyes saw, be careful what my ears heard. And I have really enjoyed reading devotionals for moms. I've loved that. And I have written one. Oh my gosh, I'm so pumped to tell you all about this. And I'm excited. I am actually, and you guys can just be part of this journey with me, I'm submitting it to the Holy Bible app by YouVersion. And I really hope that they'll accept it and put it on their app. So it is called Joyful, like this joyful life. It's called Joyful Motherhood. And I am excited. So hopefully I'll hear in the next couple of weeks if they have accepted it or not. So I wrote that anyways, like God has done so much spiritually in me, and I am excited to pour into other moms who just need encouragement for whatever reason, or may find themselves in a tough spot too. Okay, so we have physical, we have spiritual, we have emotional. So I've recently, right before the sleep issue happened, I had talked to my life coach, Miss Jan. She had given me some ideas for things to do, like getting in the Word and making movement a priority. I'm so thankful for her. And she was so helpful with that. So I know emotionally that's important. I'm actually adding a certification to my life coaching file. I don't know, repertoire. What do you say? But I am almost done. I've got 3 college classes left. Actually, like not courses, but like classes within the course left to finish that. And so I'm excited to add that certification. And that's been part of the emotional thing that I have said. These life coaching courses are so great for me to learn, but also to absorb myself and to learn from that. So that's been part of emotionally. And I love to do just like quick little checks with my husband, Josh. Like if I get a text that's kind of strange or, whatever. And my first instinct is like to react in stress, because when you've been living in stress, you're going to see things through stress glasses, right? It's like you're almost wearing sunglasses that it's like, this is how I see it, is just through stress first. And so I've allowed him to read emails that seem kind of off, or like texts that seem kind of off. I'm like, all right, am I receiving this the way you receive it, not living in that stress? And he's helped to just keep me in alignment with where I want to go. I want to be free from the effects of cortisol and the effects of stress, and I want to walk in freedom. And so for me, it's just been an intense focus, diligently walking day in and day out, saying, this is my choice and this is what I'm doing to heal and grow and move forward. So that's been great. I have an awesome husband. He can fact check me when I'm like, hey, does this seem kind of strange to you? All right. So that's been part of the emotional journey. So we have physical, we have emotional, or we have physical, spiritual, emotional, and mental. And mental is so important. And I would lump in with this, like, also the emotional part of, instead of like, am I feeling the right way about this? Or, are my emotions in check about this? It's, am I thinking about this the right way? And that's how I would differentiate those two. And so Josh is my sounding board with that. Am I thinking about this right? I'll tell him, this is what I think about this. Am I on point with that? And so he's a great guide and a great spiritual leader for our family to say, that, yeah, you're totally on point. Or, well, let's do, what do you think about this? And to help me think through things and make sure that my thought process that I'm, for me, it's like I go back to the scripture about renewing my mind. And so that has been a choice. And I will tell you, it has had to be a constant choice, because when you're living in stress, you're also thinking in stress. And I had to get out of the habit of doing that. And I had to go into my new habit diligently every day, focusing on it, walking in it, and making the choice to stay there and to course correct when I don't. And say, this is how I'm thinking about it. This is where my thoughts are going. And to just put in the reps there. If I can put in the reps on my Peloton, if I can put in the reps of 10,000 steps and closing my Apple Watch rings, which I've done for 115 or 116 days too. I'm like, hey, if I could, that was because I did it every day. Not because I did it once and it covered me for a while. Like, no, I had to do it every day. And the same thing goes with your emotional response and your mental response. And saying, I have got to put in the reps with those things too, to renew my mind, reshape my spirit, and to move forward for me, chasing that freedom. And so my sleep has spurred all of this, you guys, like not sleeping for 3.5 weeks in January and just open hands saying, Lord, do everything that you need to do in me, has become this. And I am grateful. I'm very grateful. Okay, so we have physically, we have spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and then also making sure that you have the right support. So I know I can pick up a phone and text Miss Jan, or I can call Miss Jan. She's my life coach, and I can do that with her if I need someone to just check and make sure that I'm on course with where I want to go, or if I just need to chat, she's great. And then my number one MVP, Josh Witt, I'm so thankful. He's been my biggest support in all of this. So, even my kids, literally my high schooler and middle schooler, they would get home from school at like 4:40, which is crazy late, I know, and it's terrible. But they would get home and I would be like, okay, get on my Peloton. Can you watch the little kids? And for 30 minutes, just give me 30 minutes. And that happened a handful of times too. So they were a huge support. But for Josh, the patience of Job through this, but I told him, I said, like, he has loved me in a new way in the last, and we've been married almost 19 years. In a couple days, we have our 19th anniversary. And this is a new way he has loved me well, because I don't remember ever having such an intense focus on personal growth and on exercise and all the things at one time before. And he has been so kind and so he's always kind and he always cheers me on, but I have deeply needed him. And that's just, I can think of seasons he's deeply needed me, like when he was sick and I was there for him. And then here you go. And in a very real way, I feel like I was very sick in January. I thought my body is screaming at me. And I know that he has loved me well through this kind of sickness. And I have used as my medicine, I have used exercise, and I have used walking closely with the Lord in my spiritual walk and focusing on my emotional health and focusing on my mental health. And I have done those things because for me, I did not want to go, before. I told you when I was a brand new teacher, I went on a sleep aid from the doctor, and I didn't want to do that. I'm like, no, instead I am saying God is trying to tell me something. My body is screaming at me and I've got to do something about it. I am not knocking it. If you are on medicine, I am not. And in fact, I told my husband, I'm going to give it 90 days. And if after 90 days, I do not experience something miraculous in my recovery and healing from bad sleep in January and all the things, if I do all of this faithfully and after 90 days, I cannot tell you that I am well and that I'm doing great, I'm going straight to the doctor and getting medicine because I wanted to give it all I got to heal my body first. That was my choice. So if your choice is to be on medicine, I'm very happy for you and I hope you sleep great. But I knew that my problems were not just about my sleep. I knew that it was so many different factors playing into it. And so that wasn't going to be the fix for me. But after 90 days, if I gave it all I got, then I was going to do it. So, but I can say here I'm 115 days in and I am so thankful. I'm so thankful for healing. I will tell you a couple nights a week I have taken, I did some research. I was like, what supplement is going to help with reducing cortisol levels? It's called L-theanine. And I actually found a product that is amazing. It's called Sleep and it has L-theanine in it. And it's also going to have just some melatonin, a little bit of non-habit forming melatonin. So if I feel like I'm going to sleep a little more tense and I'm like, I know that it's been a long day or whatever, and something happened or whatever, and I need a little extra help staying asleep, I will take that. It's like a little Listerine strip, and you put it on your tongue and let it dissolve, and it just gives me the little bit of extra help I've needed. I will tell you that I am on my second bag. It has 30 in there, and I've been doing this for 115 days. And I'm only on my second bag and I've used a few out of it. So it's just a couple times a week if I need it. It's nice to have that on standby. I will link it for you. If you ask, you need to be able to get that. It's awesome. And I'll put it in the show notes. All right, y'all. It's my story. I was a little clammy thinking about sharing it because I love on this podcast how joyful it is and encouraging it is. But you know what? This has been a hard thing and God has gotten me through a hard thing. And I'm very proud of myself to be, here we are in May, and I can say that I feel like myself and I feel, oh my gosh, last night I slept for 7 hours and it was so amazing to sleep for 7 hours and have really good and really restful sleep. It was awesome. And so yeah, I'm just so thankful. So I hope this has been encouraging for you. If you've got questions, I'm not someone offering any kind of medical advice. I don't want you to take this as medical advice. This is just my story. And so if it's meant anything to you and you feel like it's just what you needed and you want to make those changes too, I do want to encourage you with this. I had to decide that my commitment ruled everything. Because it took a couple of months for me to feel really good. My sleep started improving, but this has been that was day one. My sleep started improving, but this has been a journey that it was healing for me. Exercise was medicine for me. This is something that I had to do over time. So I feel fantastic right now, but my commitment had to just be over everything. It's like, I'm tired today. Yeah, well, you committed, Rachel Witt. So get out there and do it. Or it's like, oh, I don't know. I only have 20 minutes today. Yeah, well, you committed. So get on the Peloton. It's just every single thing. My commitment had to be like, that's, you committed. Go do it. And it had to be what just ruled over everything else. So commitment matters. And here I am, a couple months in, and I am very thankful that my commitment mattered so much and I did not ever back down. Even when I wasn't sure how well it was working, even when it was really hard, especially mentally, even when I had the tummy bug. I'm really glad that my commitment was number one and everything else had to be secondary to that. It's like, yeah, you got the tummy bug. So what? Get outside and make it happen. And I did. So anyway, I hope this has been encouraging for you. Let's pray. Lord, thank you for my friends who are listening. If this is what they needed, I just praise you in advance for that you gave them the encouragement that they needed on their sleep journey. I know that you gave us rest as a gift. It's like what our bodies need. And so I just thank you for sleep. I thank you for healing me. And I just thank you for the ways this has encouraged the friends that are listening. And I pray that they can walk with you the way that I have and see the same results. In your name I pray. Amen. All right, friends. I'm so glad to be doing a podcast. This is great. I'm glad to be here, glad to do this, and I cannot wait to tell you that I just believe this devotional is going to end up on YouVersion. I just think they'll say yes, so I believe it so deeply in my heart. So I can't wait to keep updating you on Joyful Motherhood, the devotional. I can't wait to update you on that, and then just keep you updated on all the awesome things. I usually take the summer off. Not this year. We back. Let's go. Y'all have a great week. Be blessed, and I'll see you soon.